Sona Group of Industries, despite the challenges in the year under review, continues to weather the storm and succeeding in winning awards along the way. The Chairman Chief Executive Officer, Agent K. Mirchandani, is our guest on The CEO Speaks. The Managing Director, Chief Executive, Exec Cargo and Aviation Services Limited, Mr. Uzoma Wogo, speaks on the company's offerings and performance in the aviation sector, plus global business and financial news on our Inside Business Africa Business Briefs in 60 seconds. This is Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Hello, a very good day to you and thanks for joining us. My name is Kenneth Odushola Stevenson and this is Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. When we come back, we speak with the CEO of Sona Group of Industries, Mr. A.K. Mirchandani, on the challenges and opportunities in the manufacturing sector in Nigeria. Stay with Inside Business. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Thanks for staying with us. Let's now move to the sustainable manufacturing practice in the manufacturing sector in Nigeria. And today we will be speaking with a very important personality indeed, Mr. A.K. Mirchandani, who is the Chairman Chief Executive of Sona Group of Industries. Sona Group of Industries, the manufacturers of many products, and they have about 16 or there are about 11 subsidiary companies operating under that group. Different companies making different products, and of recent the company has gone into sustainable manufacturing by turning waste into products, and also has been involved in some export of products out of Nigeria. And the Chairman Chief Executive, Mr. A.K. Mirchandani, is joining us today to speak to you on the challenges and the opportunities in the Nigerian manufacturing sector. Mr. Mirchandani, let me welcome you to Inside Business Africa.
Yeah.
Let me go straight to my first question, Mr. Mirchandani. You've been talking with us on Inside Business for so many years. I mean, if I can recall, for almost 20 years, you've been featuring on Inside Business Africa. It becomes like a partner, as it were now, because when we source up for information on how to grow the Nigerian economy and how the manufacturers should do or businesses should be done based on corporate sustainable practice, we come to you. And let me go straight to my first question about Nigeria's quest for industrialization. What are we doing and what do we need to do?
Nigeria will find it very difficult to survive without industrialization. Industrialization is meant to train, employ, and create jobs. It has a multi-purpose, and the purpose is simple. First of all, agriculture is a key. Remember, sufficiency in a food protects you in many ways, health and many other areas. But if agriculture is concentrated, no matter how much government will put money and efforts, they are not enough. That means they have to continue to put more and more efforts. Emphasize whatever concession you can give is cheaper in the long run. Do industrialize formation. If you do industrialize multiple purpose and go a little bit hybrid, because hybrid helps you also. And land, make land easy for people or industries who utilize local raw material. Don't make it difficult. Don't make it as a government policy, we must collect so much per acre. Farmer never makes money. Farmer continuously to survive. So what are you asking him to pay money? Government continuously have to look from that angle. I think we all owe responsibility towards growth. It is not that we only industrialists has to do. It is a joint venture.
Since I mentioned something earlier on about sustainable manufacturing practice, I would like to talk about that particular sustainable manufacturing practice. In other words, you must be doing something that is environmental friendly and is also good for the health of the public and the people, including the staff around Sona Group of Industry. Can you speak to the subsidiaries, products, manufacturing practices, and the group sustainable manufacturing practice initiative?
I must tell you that government has to recognize that the industry is a key for employment. Industry, in fact, helps generate internal economy. So when you are generating internal economy, you're not looking at external sources, you're not looking at forex and so on and so forth. So I think African countries, their leadership, they have to look at from that angle, that what you can produce today within yourself, within the country, it will help you in the long term, and keep developing more and more and more, because that's your basis of future. You have oil, you have a gas, you have all these resources, but how long? There's always a limit, and so you must try to develop other area. You have a bigger population, and that bigger population means, along with the neighbors, that they are also relying on Nigeria. That definitely government have to think, and government policies have to think how they can create a future for industries in Nigeria. Government is the biggest, I would say, a supporter of industries, and there's a good cause. We have seen Ministry of Industry has been doing very well. They've been supporting us, they've been supporting other manufacturers, which is the right approach, in my opinion. So I like to thank some of the government agencies who have been proactive. I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say it's been challenging. I do agree with you. Especially after COVID, we have more challenges. And then slowly, economy went down a little bit more, constraint for forex, that we couldn't get part of the raw material. Not all the raw materials are produced in this country. So yes, challenges have been there. But challenges, in fact, brings us more innovation. Key is to look at positively and get the innovation done. So I wouldn't say we are bad off. I think there is more progress. We have developed a number of areas, and we continue to forge ahead. So to be discouraged, that's not for us, not for Sona Group. We start introducing some new product, new things, and we entice the market. So yes, there is opportunity. I wouldn't think there's anything wrong. Sona Group has a full focus on export, and export is a key. However, with the circumstances surrounding in Africa, and also some of the areas where we have some of the issues on transition of the port, deliveries, etc., we have to try to get help from the government to see how they can support. The more they support, I think the more export will go. We have pallets we are exporting. We have also some other products in Shanghai packaging that has been exported. Along with, we have products in the food industry. Food industry as well, we make malt extract from sorghum, which is 100% locally. And that also is giving us, we are exporting to Australia, sorry to say, but also in America. The American is growing. American volume is growing, and it's going to grow more. We are going through NAFTA, we are going through some of the agencies. I think it's going to help us. And that's the food industry. But we are coming out with more and more items, diversifying from there within the same byproduct. And I think we have a much more area. So we think that next 2 years is very important, that we are changing some of the tactics, and we should be able to export much more volume. However, the volume depends on the what you call availability of raw material locally, and that's not a challenge at the moment. But yes, if the government can create much more what you call agriculture, that agriculture product, because we had food industry, the agriculture products are very, very important. The government has to push more and more agriculture. Agriculture in long term, having so-called your economy, 200 million people and others, neighbors, as I said, they also rely on Nigeria. My opinion is that yes, that will definitely help reduce the cost for public. Reduction of the cost, very vital. Remember, if your pocket is not having to meet, you will not buy. So is in export area, we have to sustain and we have to reduce the cost. But I can tell you opportunities are great. Opportunities can be created more. Government has to be proactive to help exporters more and more, and I'm sure they can achieve. We are looking, most of the industries now, we are going, is 100% local raw material, as well as we are also looking from the angle that we should export. And I think there are opportunities that we will export. We'll continue to export. We'll continue to encourage and support the government in that initiative. Policy decision was taken already 5 years back, and policy decision was to see maximum exportation from Nigeria and not to sustain or not to rely only on forex market with Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, going through the policies, it has helped us, it has built some foundation, and we continuously start building more and more foundation. So I think I see more export. Honestly speaking, I think I'm confident more and more export will be done. It is not one item, we are branching out number of other items. However, we are putting, or we want to put new industries, and sometimes the finance is a major obstacle. When you don't have enough finance, you can't buy machinery, you cannot open letter of credit. The banks are very difficult to get the money, and they are asking very high interest rate. And industry cannot survive on a higher cost of interest. Yeah, the trader may be able to do and pay because they're passing on, but industry survival is difficult on the basis of high cost of borrowing. So I think the government has to look at from, especially specific window where you have export industry and where export industry need to reduce the cost for export. They have to give some leeway. We have in India, we have in many countries, they will encourage export and they will even eliminate all the duties and so on locally and make it viable for export. So I think government, I'm sure government is looking into it, and they are the masters to encourage the industries for more export.
Thank you again for speaking with Inside Business Africa today, Mr. A.K. Mirchandani, the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of Sona Group of Industries. We're so delighted that every time we call on you, you are always there to speak to the industry. We like people like you. Your products has continued to do well. I know you are doing a lot of partnership with many media houses to bring the product close to the people. Fantastic initiative. We are very proud of Sona Group of Industries, and we are proud to be associated with the group for almost 20 years. Thank you again for joining us and also for speaking with Inside Business today.
Thank you.
Stay with Inside Business. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Thanks for staying with us.
Well, different people with different understanding of leadership. If you want to be a good leader, not a good boss, you must carry your people along. Because I can't be here and be in my house, and I can't be in my house at the same time be in Abuja or elsewhere. So I have to let my people, my staff, whom I call my colleagues, to know what I'm doing or how we should do it and how it will benefit our teaming customers. Then they can take it off from there. So like Miss Precious, I did told you that she studied mass comm whether print or electronic media. But after her youth service, I said, no, okay, come and see what we call Papa Yankee Bravo. A for Alpha, B for Bravo. So I think, let me just say, she is better off than me when it comes to that. Then the other gentleman, Mr. Sahid Olatunji, when it comes to operating 747 cargo flights, loading and offloading, I must say that I'm a non-entity in that. Is a professional and he's very good, more than me. The gentleman I introduced you to, Engineer Bayo, he studied mechanical engineering. He's just about a year plus, and he has catch up very fast. Unfortunately, the other lady, Kobari Dolapo, is writing exam. So they also do flight planning, because if your customer arrived or the aircraft arrived, we do the needful and file the flight plan for their departure. So they've been doing wonderful. So I need to carry them all along in case if I'm not around, they don't need to wait for me to come and tell them what to do. Yeah, a very good or professional driver, let me just put it that way, should be able to know when his car has enough fuel, enough engine oil, or equip the vehicle for the journey. Although it has not really been easy, because banks doesn't give money no matter how much you have, except you have large scale investment that you can lease out and say, okay, I need so amount of money. But with the little stipends we realize from our customers who rely and trusted on us, we continue to distribute it to make sure that we satisfy the needs of our clients. So the economy is not in the favor of even old airlines. If you have been following the newspapers reports, you discover that a lot of airlines has gone underground, and those of us who are just following up or try to pick up the pieces, also a lot of us, my colleagues, have closed their companies, not because they want to close it, but because of the economic hardship, especially during that COVID-19, that there was lockdown all over the world. Nobody asked them, are you eating? How are you surviving? And the irony aspect is, every year we pay Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, the managers of airspace, we pay a renewal fee of 250,000 naira. It's not negotiable. Then once in 2 years, we return back to classroom to upgrade our knowledge, and before we apply for recertification by the regulatory authority, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, without it we cannot be allowed to do anything. So it has not really been easy. I wouldn't say there is a greatest achievement, because we are still on the track, trying to see if we can cope. It's just by God's grace. That is the greatest achievement. And also my colleagues here, and those of them in Abuja, that has been propelling where we think that there is roadblock, they will make it open. They will open it for us to achieve that particular objective. So they have been of tremendous help or assistance for me to cope. Yeah, by virtue of our registration, right from Corporate Affairs Commission, that is CAC, down to Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the regulatory body, as well as Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, is well spelled out that we should be rendering support, aviation support services to foreign airlines as well as domestic operators whenever they come around across us or come to us, like overflight permits, landing permits, aircraft charter services, ground handling services, Jet A1, and the ground supervision. In short, general aviation logistics. So you must equip yourself with a workable website that no matter wherever you might be, you click and you see the services that particular company is rendering. Yeah, there is no perfection in any establishment, but I wouldn't say the authorities concerned, such as the Honorable Minister of Aviation, because the policy is already laid down according to ICAO standard and our regulatory authority, such as NCAA. So they work in tandem with the International Civil Aviation Organization to provide minimum standard for safety and security. So, but the government need to do more in order to create enabling environment. What sustains airlines is not only passengers, especially cargo. For instance, if you go to cargo terminal here and also other functioning international airports in Nigeria, it's more or less empty, either because of exchange rate, which is not in favor of even the manufacturing companies. So many companies now are running out of Nigeria, either because of complicated policy. Aviation industry or airline industry business is so capital intensive, because if I want to establish an airline, for instance, the minimum share capital for domestic operation is 500 million ordinary shares. Then regional operation, which is within Africa, is a minimum of 1 billion ordinary shares. Then intercontinental, minimum of 2 billion ordinary shares. And if you now translate it to stamp duty, which will be paid to Nigerian government, you know how much. So you must set aside a large sum of money. And before banks can come into your aid, you must have gone or done 90% of what is expected of you. So after doing this, then you now start looking for an aircraft, because the standard or requirement is the aircraft must not be more than 18 years before flying into the country, which will be duly inspected by certified aeronautical engineers that will be nominated to go to the base of the aircraft to see the maintenance hangar and the other, and check the crew licenses and their training, because they are carrying humans. So it has not really been easy, both for the existing airline operators and as well as those who are planning to go into it.
I'm afraid that's about all we have time for Inside Business Africa for today. It's been Kenneth Odushola Stevenson presenting Inside Business Africa. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.